Today, we're talking all about that juicy, fantastic, inspiring, applauding audience. Yes, you. I'm talking to you. Whether you're another performer in an audience, whether you are attending your very first show, maybe you just need to know what to expect. Burlesque shows can be incredibly overwhelming. I have invited many of my coworkers and friends and even family members at times to burlesque shows. It's interesting how you get so used to something, being a burlesque performer, and knowing exactly what to expect of shows, no matter whether it's a big theater show or whether it's a smaller pub show. I've definitely seen shows that I wouldn't have thought of or know what to expect. I've seen plenty of those shows many times as well, and I will continue to as people continue to innovate burlesque. For most people, it can be very overwhelming to see a burlesque show, and it can be quite overwhelming to know what to expect, and are you allowed to cheer, and what do you wear? Here's your quick guide to what to expect when attending a burlesque show. First of all, the venue. A burlesque show can take place literally anywhere you can think of, whether that's in a restaurant and having burlesque performers performing either on a stage in front of the restaurant tables or walking around the audience in the restaurant itself. You can see burlesque performers on grand, fantastic, extravagant stages with curtains and fancy lighting and fancy sound and fancy theater seats, or you can also see them at your local venue, which is just a standard pub or a bar, or maybe you just have an event center that hosts shows. You can even see them at things like the circus. I know people who've done burlesque in big warehouses. It can take place anywhere. Attending a burlesque show, it's really good to know what to expect beforehand if you're nervous, and really know what kind of venue is it. Where on the scale of burlesque is the stage? Or where on the scale of stages is the stage and venue? Often that can help you decide what you're going to wear. If it's a nice theater and a beautiful, extravagant place, lots of people like to dress up for those. You don't have to. Same with even if it's at a smaller venue. A lot of people like to dress up and get fancy and have it as the night out on the town, even though you don't have to. A lot of people also go very casually. Feel free to dress up. You can really get in the mood if you have something with rhinestones or sparkle in it, or maybe you have little hair flowers or a bow tie or anything you're feeling. The great thing about burlesque is how often we talk about you do you and don't yuck somebody else's yum, and really what you want to do, whether that's performing or in the audience, you can feel free to wear what you like, and it is fantastic. Most shows will also have an introduction or some housekeeping with the MC before the show. Depending on where you live as well, for housekeeping, is becoming more common practice is having territorial acknowledgements. As an audience member, it is a fantastic time for us to just sit back, listen, and take in anything that's being shared with us by the presenter. And then there's usually also housekeeping as what are the washrooms like? Where do you find them? Are there any safety people on set, like the bartenders or producers or security that you can go to if needed? Most of the time, a lot of hosts will talk about consent and say that even though we are taking our clothes off on stage and mingling with the audience, it is not an invitation for us to violate anyone's privacy or approach somebody without having permission first. Taking your clothes off on stage does not equal consent, but most of our audiences are fantastic, which is great. We love it when people are awesome and enthusiastic and listen to consent and really just appreciate burlesque for burlesque and appreciate the show as a whole. And as for the acts can be anywhere from joyful and fun and comedic to very sad and sorrowful, whatever a performer wishes to share. There is such a huge variety of burlesque, and I actually have a video about the different styles of burlesque, kind of what they're each about, so you can check that video out if you want to know more. However, as an audience member, just prepare for that. Prepare for a whole diverse set of performances by phenomenal performers of all different styles, different body sizes, different ethnicities, different abilities, and so many things that you can see on stage. The diversity is fantastic. Often one of the biggest things that is promoted at the beginning during the housekeeping is don't be afraid to cheer, go crazy, you're not loud enough, let's practice again. We want you to go wild and we want you to really cheer and hoot and holler, but there's also going to be times when you might not want to, and that's also totally okay. If you see an act that's really sad and it really connects with you and you just want to watch it and you're just like in the moment, silence is also a very genuine human response, and we enjoy enjoy authenticity at our shows. Even if you see like the sexiest act you've ever seen, there's a lot of times when I myself have not cheered for that entire act, but I'll lose it at the very end when they walk off stage because my jaw is on the floor, and that is also okay. And even if you are somebody who's a little bit shy, a little bit quiet, and you're like, I want to cheer, but like I also don't know how to get into like that loud space, that's totally okay too. I do believe that it takes practice to be an audience member, and it takes practice getting used to burlesque, especially if you're somebody who's not used to seeing that all the time and seeing people openly talking about body positivity and talking about consent and all of these different things. And in terms of money, we like money as performers. Some shows are free and you might be able to enter by donation. Some will be only tickets at the door. Some will only be tickets pre-sale. Some will be a combination. A lot of shows you attend, you might just have to pay for a ticket and that's it. If you want food, you can buy food. If you want drinks, you can buy drinks. There's also a lot of shows where tipping is highly, highly, highly encouraged. Tipping is fantastic. There's a lot of shows that have it, and if there is a show, often they will publicly announce it before the show as the promotion, saying like, bring your money, bring your dollar bills. We have our own special singles, or we have our own special people who can exchange your money for singles or something that's not a $50 or $100 bill if you don't want to tip that for every single performer, even though it would be greatly appreciated if you could afford it. You don't have to tip. It is greatly appreciated just because of the amount of work that performers do. But at the same time, if you're not able to afford tipping, the fact that you're buying a ticket is still a fantastic way to support the show. There's also a lot of things to keep in mind today as well with the current pandemic still going on. A lot of venues and a lot of shows will have their own protocols. It's important that as audience members and performers that we really listen to whatever protocols there are that exist, whether that's you have to stay at your table or you have to wear a mask unless you're drinking and eating. And this is something that I can't really talk about a whole lot because it is going to be very different between venues. A lot of venues will have on their websites about what their current protocols are, or sometimes they'll promote it in the promotion. There's also going to be times when some shows might have a little game right before intermission or during the show where they might have audience members come on stage. May or may not be a thing at the moment, but in the future, hopefully when shows are back full force and there's no restrictions, it's probably going to be a thing again. So if you are into audience participation, then get yourselves ready because a lot of producers come up with some really fun games. Don't forget to have a good time. We want to entertain you. Burlesque is 100% about the audience. We do talk about self-empowerment and expression and all of these different things from the performer's point of view a lot in burlesque, but honestly we are there to entertain you and the audience and connect with the audience in whatever way that means and looks like for us. Different things are going to connect with different people in the audience, and different people are going to like different styles, and that's totally cool and totally okay. And I really encourage you to just feel free to have fun. Go by yourself, go with a partner. Burlesque is a fantastic date. Many couples go, many friends go, and families go. Regardless of your gender, burlesque is there for you. Everyone belongs in the burlesque audience. Go out, have a good time, maybe meet somebody new, and hopefully get inspired. If you have any questions or comments, or maybe things that you think are useful for people to know as an audience member, especially if they're new, comment down below and I would love to see your responses. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye!